Hello and welcome to Roman's first video update. So Roman definitely needed some time to adjust. It took him a little while to be willing to eat, to move around, really. First few days he was kind of just tail tucked, this is all very scary. But this is the first thing we did as soon as we were able to get him to take some food. He's done a few sessions of this prior to this one. So all we're doing here is conditioning our first marker, which is the clicker. Now, our markers are going to be one of the most important things when it comes to dog training. Our markers allow us to clearly and effectively communicate with our dogs. Our continuation means I like what you're doing, you're going to get a reward, keep doing that behavior. Where our terminal means that was exactly the right behavior. Now you are going to get a reward and you are allowed to leave position. And then the other type of marker that we have that we won't be using yet is our punishment marker, which is no, which means, you broke a rule, and now there's going to be a follow-up correction because of that. So right now we're just simply teaching him that the clicker means food. When you hear this sound, you are getting food. The way that dogs learn is through association. So I'm staying still, I'm not moving the food in my hands until I quit. We like to think of it like a robot, right? The clicker goes off, my hand comes down, and he gets fed. If we do the clicker and the feeding at the same time, one isn't predicting the other, and it's not going to be as effective. Once the dogs are making more progress, we will start to introduce verbal markers like our good and our yes. But we like to start with the clicker because it's much more consistent than we can ever be. Because I could say good, I could say good, I could say good. They all sound a bit different, but the clicker is going to sound the exact same every single time. So it really just speeds up the learning process. And then the next step is you'll see me trying to get him on my left side as much as possible. When he's exactly in that position that I want him in, click, feed. Click, feed. So right there was a good example of using a terminal marker. So instead of the one-click continuation, I did a double-click, pulled him out of position, and then gave him a reward, petting, and praise. The reason we use a terminal marker is because it's very explosive for the dog. It's supposed to be like a little party, right? So I knew the sit was going to be challenging for him to start introducing into the heeling, just because he's been a bit reserved, and I didn't expect him to follow the lure super well. So as soon as he did it, I wanted to make sure that he knew that was the correct choice. So I used that super fun terminal marker. This actually took some time for him to get used to. He was actually afraid of the clicker at first. He was not a fan of the movement paired with the clicker either. So this was already a good bit of progress. So now that I have him in the exact ideal position where I want him, I'm using that continuation. Click, feed, click, feed, click, feed. And then we do also have a release marker as well, which is free. That just means you are allowed to leave position. Alright, so this would be our second session working on place. The first session we did was just getting him up on the bed, feeding, releasing him. So now that he knows the bed is super valuable and wants to go to it, as soon as he is approaching it, I am adding the word place, knowing that he's going to go to the bed. When we can trust that the dog is going to do the behavior on their own for their reward, that's how we know we can begin to add in the verbal command. So now I'm just doing the same exact thing I did in the first session, but this time I'm adding in the word place. Now, an important thing to notice is that I keep getting him into a down before feeding him. We don't require downs on place. We don't layer commands on place. The rules for place are all 4 feet on the bed, no barking, no growling, no whining. I just always like to feed in the down to encourage the dog to settle on the bed and just relax. You're not getting up anytime soon, you're just chilling on the bed.
No. Wait. Good.
So there is an example of a correction and using our punishment marker. So now that I have added a verbal command to the behavior, that means I now have to enforce the rules. So as soon as some feet stepped off, I used my marker no, corrected him, and then reminded him of what he should have been doing, which is place, so that he can avoid making that same decision again.
No. Please. No. Please. Good. It's not that scary, buddy, I promise. No. Please. 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 Please.
So there I just did lots of repetition of duration, just keeping him there on the same spot. And now I'm about to start working some distance. So you'll notice I'm stepping off with my right foot. Whenever we want the dog to stay somewhere, we leave with our right foot. If we want the dog to come with us, we move with our left foot. We do this because if you think about heeling, the dog is with our left leg, and they're used to seeing that leg moving and coming with us. And if you think about the way that dogs interact with one another, their primary form of communication is body language. They don't communicate verbally as much as we do. So I am just incrementally going up by small amounts and then coming back and rewarding him and fixing him if he gets out of that down. You may also notice the way that I use the leash to communicate with him. So if he comes out of the down, I'm applying some leash pressure down and then rewarding and immediately releasing that leash pressure. The same thing with the sits. If he's struggling with going into the sit, I'll add some light leash pressure upwards, and as soon as he sits, the pressure comes off and he gets his reward. We do this to have multiple forms of communication with them. So not only do they understand us verbally, but we've also set up a physical way of communication that can help aid. And then that physical communication will also be able to transfer to corrections. So if he breaks it down later on, once he knows a verbal down, we can say no and pop the leash downwards. And that'll help clarify to him, oh yeah, I should have gone down. I know how to turn that pressure off.
Please. Please.
Yeah, buddy. Good job. Super pal. The other thing I do is I always feed on the place bed. A good way to think about our commands is telling the dog where the food is going to be. So place means your rewards are going to be on the place bed. There's no reason to get up out of the down because you're only going to get it if you're in the down. And the food is directly on the bed. So that way he's not thinking about coming to me for a reward and getting off place.
Please. No. Please. No. Please.
This is the very early stages of place, so I'm making sure that my communication is extra clear with him. So as soon as he steps off, no, correction, place. As soon as he stays there, I come back and reward. And then the reason that I come back into heel position to reward is because we don't ever want the dog thinking about breaking or coming off the front of the bed,
Please.
trying to get to us for a reward, or
Please.
thinking that we are going to release them from anywhere
Please.
other than the side of the bed. So the dog knows that if I'm not in heel position, you're not being rewarded and you're not being released. So it
Please.
can help prevent anticipatory behaviors.
Please. Free.
And you can see there when I released him, I stepped off with my left foot.
Please. Please. Free. Free.
The next challenge past getting him to take food in the training days, it was getting him to take food outside. So the biggest problem that we were having with him for a while is the lagging. So he would get nervous, concerned about things around him, and he would stop walking, and he would just put on the brakes. So for a while, we had to show him, you can't put on the brakes. So if we're moving and he comes to a stop and he goes, I'm not moving, we have to keep that leash pressure on, and we have to keep moving forwards. Because if it's up to him, he's not going to move. He's not going to do it. So we have to help him. We have to guide him through that and say, hey, it's scary, but you need to keep moving because this is the only way you're going to be able to get past it. So for a while, he was just doing some healing without a command, without a verbal reward. Just, I'm moving, you're moving. So with a dog that is lagging and falling behind a good bit, I like to make a lot of right turns because that's going to require him to pick up his pace in order to get into the correct position. So when he's, lagging behind, being a little slow, I'll do tap, 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 tap forward on the leash and maybe even pick up my speed to help him. And then as soon as he meets my lure hand there, clicking and feeding and the tapping stops. So I'm basically using the leash as a little bit of a gas pedal to say, hey, speed up, speed up, speed up. And then he gets there and the tapping stops and he gets a reward. We were then able to apply this same concept to the e-collar, and this is how we've started conditioning the e-collar for his healing, is putting it on a very low level. He's on like a 5, so that when we're healing and he starts lagging and I make that right turn, I'm reminding him heal and tap, 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 tap. As soon as he gets there, e-collar shuts off and he gets his reward. It's not high enough of a level, it's not aversive enough to be punishment, it's just communication. When it comes to healing and keeping your dog in position, try to think about escaping your dog if they're not paying attention. So if he's forging, and he's coming out super forward, I'm going to make a sharp right turn so that he's hitting the end of the line for not paying attention to me and where we're going.
Heel. Heel. Heel.
job, bud. What's up?
Heel.
Yeah.
Heel.
No.
Heel.
When it comes to helping the dog get into heel position, we will use a food lure, and then we will take a step back with our left leg, bring them back, and then step forward, and then we are able to get them relatively straight in the position that we want them.
Heel. 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 Heel.
And then I do not have any video of it because he was not taking food yet.
Heel.
He still struggles with taking food
Heel.
new places. He'll typically eat like a few pieces of his toppers,
Heel.
but then he's done. But we have been taking him out places even while his obedience isn't too far along, just because he needs to see the world, he needs to experience things, he needs to keep moving. Otherwise, he's going to struggle to make progress with the obedience as well.
Heel.
So I took him to a Dunham's, and we went around the parking lot, and he actually did surprisingly good. So we went inside, and then we just walked around. He didn't take any food, but I just used a little bit of my leash to keep him where I want him, and it was pretty successful. So now we're going to keep taking him places and keep offering him food, just like we did here, until he's comfortable taking it in new environments. So with a dog like him, he will sometimes be like, you know, I don't want food right now, so I'm not going to pay attention or stick to my behaviors because I don't want that reward right now. And this is where we got to say, hey, you still got to do it even if you don't feel like eating right now. And then with time, they'll realize, okay, I have to do this regardless, so I might as well take the food. And then they learn to really enjoy it. Then they learn to love working for their food.
Heel. Roman.
And then we have also began working some recalls with him. So just saying his name and then disappearing backwards. And when he comes back, food reward, right? If he doesn't come back, it would be no, correction, Roman, and make him follow through.
Heel.
So with our recalls, it is always super important that we make the dog follow through. I am not going to recall a dog unless it's an emergency if I do not have a way to make them commit to coming back.
No. Heel.
Because recall is a matter of life or death. So if we have to make him come back, I might tell him good and give him a pet or two, but then I'm going to release him, and the fun, high-value rewards are only for when you come back. Another important thing to note is that all of our commands have an implied stay until told otherwise. So if I tell him heal, that means we are healing until I tell you free, or I release you with a yes. You know, same thing with place, sit, down, doing them until told otherwise. Because teaching something like a
Heel.
stay is very difficult
No.
to
Heel.
generalize to a bunch of different behaviors. And then the dog is also going to struggle to remember, hey, did you tell me to stay here? But if it's just implied that you are always staying
Heel.
until released, the dog is going to be
Heel.
much less likely
Free.
to get up. With the recall, we will eventually add a flip into heel.
Heel.
So when I call you, you're not just coming back, but you're coming back and getting into heel position. And we do this so that the dog doesn't practice doing drive-bys where they might run past you, or they start coming towards you like they're going to recall and then they change their mind.
Heel.
We make them follow through with heel position until they are released from heel position.
Yeah, but
Good job, buddy. Yeah.
Heel.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Heel.
So we just really want to build this reward history as high as we can. Say everything good happens right here, everything good comes from me. This is the best possible choice you could make. Our rules for healing are just staying in position and no sniffing
Heel.
the ground.
No.
So think
Heel.
about the heel position as right at the side of your left heel of your foot.
Heel.
So they should be in line with your leg. Not too
Good.
far forward, not too far
Heel.
off to the side, just right with you.
Heel. Heel.
So you'll notice there, as soon as he sped up into position, I stopped the tapping and I rewarded him.
Heel. Heel.
Yeah.
Three. Heel. Heel. Heel.
This is where we are currently at in his healing. You can tell he's much more excited. He's much more biddable. His understanding is much more clear. He's quicker. You'll also notice that I'm using the leash pretty minimally in this session. I'm primarily using the e-collar, and you can see that he responds to it pretty well, especially like on these turns. You'll see him going a little bit slow, and then he'll really pick up his speed.
Heel. 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 Heel.
So here I am working on introducing the e-collar with send to place. So he's seen the e-collar in healing, but now I'm showing him that the e-collar isn't always a with me, it can also mean away from me. So I have it on that low level, and while we're decently close to the bed, I start a little bit of stim. I tell him place, and then I tap until he gets all the way back to the bed. So he'll be standing there, tap, place, tap, tap, tap. He gets to the bed, stim shuts off, and he gets a reward. So he's learning that he is in control of that little feeling. And again, it's not high level, it's not aversive. It's a low, you're learning how to control this.
Good.
And we do this so that when he is done with the conditioning process and he fully understands it, if he steps off of place, we can tell him no, and we can give him one correction on a higher level, and he knows that staying on the bed for place is what prevents that from happening.
Hey, buddy.
Place.
Good.
And then I am using some guidance with my body and such to help him when he needs it.
Free. Place.
Good.
Free.
Buddy.
Place. No. Place. No. Place. Free. Place.
Good.
Free. Place.
Good job, buddy. Super. Good job, bud. Very nice. Very nice.
Free. Place.
Good. Good job, buddy.
Free. Place.
Good.
Free. Place. Place.
No.
Place. Free. Place.
Good.
Good job, bud. Yeah.
Good job, pal. Very nice. Yeah. Good boy. Oh yeah, what a good man. Yeah.
Free. Place. Place. Place.
Good. I know it was hard.
Free. Place.
Good. Super job, buddy. Yeah. Good job.
Place.